Hey everybody, I'm back with more Photoshop tips. Please forgive me, I'm watching a baseball game in the background, so just ignore it if you hear it. So I'm going to show you on certain things to do on Photoshop today. I'm not going to show you how to do a graphic because these steps or these little, I guess you could say shortcuts or whatever, how to do stuff will actually help you make better graphics. So if you know how to do these, then it's going to be easy for you to make graphics. So let me show you what we're doing. Okay, so first of all, say you have something on here and you're like, okay, I've cut out this object and I want the color to change, meaning you want to just change the color of a logo, or you want to just pretty much change the color of a logo. Let's just say, because most of the time when you cut something out and you want to change the color, it's going to be a logo or it's going to be a shape or an object that you want to change the color of. So for instance, I already have this object. It's already pretty much transparent. So I created a second layer because anytime you cut an object out, you're always going to want to create a second layer. And so right now we can see both layers. So there's a copy layer. You're going to get rid of the first layer because you're not going to want to see it. But when you cut out an object, it's going to be, you're going to use this tool right here, the quick selection tool. But because this is pretty much already cut out, I'm just going to highlight everything and you'll see these little marching ants. It goes around the object. So it goes around the logo. So I want to change, let's say I want to change this color to, I don't know, where's my color tool? There it is. Say I want to change the color to, I don't know, black, just because I have it selected already. I'm going to go and I'm going to color it in. Obviously, I'm going to make my brush bigger so I don't have to sit here and color each spot. And boom, I'm coloring this in. Okay, Lauranje. Anyways, so now this is a black logo. So then when I want to go and drag it on to my graphic, I just, boom, it's already Ole Miss, it's already black. It's already ready to rock. So that is how you change colors of anything that you have cut out. But now I'm going to show you all how to cut out an object on Photoshop. So right now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to get a photo, so bear with me for a minute. Okay, this will do. This photo. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my photo. Again, I'm going to create a new tab. So right here I'm like, awesome, I've got this cool photo. I want to cut him out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock this layer. If you don't unlock it, it's not going to let you do anything to the layer. So I'm going to go and make a copy. The layer 0, I can't even speak. Layer 0, there we go. Click the eye off. Now you're going to go over to your quick selection tool and you're going to literally go around him. You want to be careful because the little ants will cut off body parts and limbs and stuff like that. So for instance, say I want his little finger right here to still be in it, I got to go back and unselect it. But I don't really care about his finger. But what I do care about is his beard and his facial features. I don't want those to be cut off. So I'm going to make my brush a little smaller so I can get those details. So if you have something and you're like, oh no, I selected it and I don't want it to be cut off, all you have to do is hold down the Option or Alt key on your keyboard. And it will literally, you can go over the spots that it cut off and it'll add it back. And you want to make sure that, there they go, losing. Anyways, you want to go on here and just get every little crease that you can, because when you bring it onto your graphic, you don't want there to be a white layer behind it. So now I'm going to go, it's going to go around his ear, and it's pretty good about going around the object. But you got to watch if they have white on, like if you see right here, it was going to cut it off. And then I'm going to go down here, get the rest of him. Oh, see how I was going to cut off his pants. I'm going to go in, hit that Option Alt key, make sure it gets everything. Let me make my, okay, there we go. You gotta watch because sometimes there'll be little ants on areas that you don't even see. Okay, so pretty much it looks like he's cut out pretty well. It's like, okay, sweet, you got him cut out. You got, make sure nothing's missing. You're now gonna hit the delete key and you're gonna see this transparent background, which is the checkers. This is a time where you can go in and see if there's any spots that were missed out. Like right here, I'm kind of like, I don't really like how bumpy his arm looks. So I'm gonna make my brush smaller. And I'm gonna go, actually, I'm gonna try and make it as smooth as I possibly can. Trying to get it. It's smoother, it's not ideal, but most likely when you put it on a graphic, you're gonna have a shadow or you're gonna add some type of shadow tint to him, so people aren't really gonna pay much attention to the details. But if you zoom out, his arm looks smooth. Nothing too bad. Now that you have him cut out, you can move him around. You can see he is this object that is able to be moved. Now grab this tab that you have right here, pull it down, and it's going to become a little floating tab like that. You can now grab your person or whatever you're cutting out, your object, and drag it onto your graphic. Boom, you now have him cut out. But you're like, oh no, he's too big, or it's too small. Just scale it, just scale it. And you can now use him for whatever you want to do. And look here, I'll make this the background color too. Let's just see what he looks like with some color behind him. Let's just say, let's do black. Black should say neutral color that you can use for graphics. Ah, not him. Oh gosh.
However you score it, Tommy Cruz scored on the play, and it's now 6-3.
Okay, let's just do that for now. Okay, looks great. Oh gosh. They are not the same layer. As you can see, I'm having technical difficulties. Let's just make this. Now you can see what he looks like. Oh, bring him forward. So now you can see what he looks like in front of a color. As you can see, there's a few spots that I wish I would have went and cut out a little more. His beard, even though I wouldn't save that. So what you want to do is mainly you can color correct or adjust him as an object, or you could create a shadow behind him. I know what I like to do to make them look a little more like 3D instead of just a copy and pasted thing. I'll go over to this little pan tool. I think this one's called Burn. Dodge tool makes things lighter. Burn tool makes things darker. So I'll go and kind of, let me show you what I do. Let me make it a little bigger. And I'll just kind of go and I'll kind of make him darker on the sides. So you have 3 options. You can do shadows, midtones, or highlights. Midtones is going to probably pick up more and make it a little more darker. Highlights is going to pick up the lighter side. So highlights would be, you know, the white. It's going to make it really dark. The lighter it's going to make it dark. And shadows is going to pick up the darker areas. So the darker areas would most likely be probably, yeah, this would probably count as a highlight. But you can just go through here and just kind of, and you see it still pops out this area right here. So you kind of have to watch how close you cut when you cut an object out so it doesn't look so bad. But see how I'm kind of adding this kind of this shadow tint. something you can always do if you have like this light area around him. I go and whoa, that's a big paintbrush. I go and I'll color it in sometimes, just to, oops. You have to make sure your paintbrush is so good. You can, or small, you can also change the opacity, which will help. So I'll tend to sometimes, good grief, I don't want the opacity to be that much. See how it's making it a little darker? So when you zoom out, you can see how, like here, it's like, okay, it does get rid of the little halo look that you get when you cut them out. Sometimes you got to go over it multiple times to make it darker. Again, you can do this with the burn tool. It just really depends on what your preference is. As you can see, look, it's making him darker. But anyways, it kind of helps. It's just a fun little tip. And it kind of gets rid of it. Just really depends on your preference and what you want to do. But again, cutting out is super simple. At first, it takes a while. Just once you do it, after a while, it gets used to it. And you can do this with other, good grief, it's a little loud. You can do this with other objects, logos. You can do this pretty much with anything. You just have to make sure that when you do cut something out, that the resolution and the quality of whatever you're cutting out is going to be good when you eventually move it onto your graphic. Again, if you have a photo that's blurry and you cut a person out and the person's blurry, it's gonna not look as good because of the quality of the photo. But other than that, that's how you do those these two techniques, and I hope this helped you out. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.